Welcome back. Now, insurance company Discovery Life says it has recorded an increase in death claims due to suicide, particularly among individuals aged 41 to 60 in the past year. Now, the firm says 63% of the claimants were registered with the Discovery Health medical scheme, which covers conditions such as depression as well as anxiety. Clinical psychologist Professor Saths Cooper joins us for more on this conversation then. Professor Cooper, appreciate your time. What's going on?
Well, we do know for quite a few years that South Africa has hit the top 10 of suicides in the world. And if we look at Southern Africa, it paints a bleaker picture. Males tend to suicide, actually carry it out more than females who may express the suicide. Now, the significant factor here is that this is an insurance company that deals with wealthier citizens in our country. And from the age profile that they cover in their report of last week, it seems to be the older males, those in the 40 to 60 year bracket. Now, we also know that the wealthier in our country happen to be minority groups in particular, white, some Africans, some others in our country, and they can afford to take out insurance policies like with Discovery. They also can afford medical aid, which is restricted to some 15 or 16% of the total population in our country. And as we also know, medical aid rates have gone up quite significantly. So the cost of living, the anxieties, the financial pressures that the wealthier amongst us appear to feel through what Discovery Life has announced is cause for grave concern, because what about the rest of the population? Over 80% of the rest of the population is uncovered by insurance, by medical aid, and other benefits that come from a democracy that is in its 31st year. So the gap between rich and poor is exacerbated, and those who tend to, from those statistics of a particular insurance company, we don't know what the other insurance companies show, and that would be interesting. We can't extrapolate this to the rest of the population, but we do know that suicide is high on the order of the third in Southern Africa.
Why by gender is it primarily male then, as you made note of as well, Professor?
Well, males tend not to express their innermost feelings. They tend not to suggest that they're going to do something to themselves. Whereas women will express this. Women tend to express their emotions more easily than males. And we tend to close ranks around those who express these insecurities. So males will carry it out and more swiftly and not express it. So the financial insecurity that is well known for adding to anxiety and economic and social uncertainty the world over seems to be at play with this particular risk group of fairly wealthy, those who are in the money, as it were, but who are suiciding as an attempt to probably safeguard their families, or their depression, their anxiety goes undetected or untreated. Both sets of factors are a toxic combination for more suiciding should this persist and interventions are not taken into account.
One wonders, however, is that it's particularly an age group that has seen South Africa in two forms, pre-democracy and post-democracy ultimately. Have those scars from the past perhaps also got something to do with it, Professor?
Well, I can't help but think of the recent occurrences in our society, where particular representatives of a very outlying group have made all sorts of nonsensical claims about their lives being at stake and all sorts of things. So perhaps seeing you on the one side of the screen and me on the other may have changed how we viewed the previous state broadcaster that had a monopoly on news. And maybe these persons who are white and male in the main may feel that you have taken over their roles. I have taken over particular spaces that they would otherwise occupy. We have not dealt with the economic injustice, the racial injustice of our past, and it shows all over in all spheres. So those fears of feeling excluded or feeling superior and not being able to deal with the consequences of reality in a democratized, a very laissez-faire, ultra-liberal democracy, if you like, where everything goes and everybody has an opinion. So I think that we have not dealt with our past in any sizable way. And think of the majority who are out of all circles in our society and actually are not beneficiaries of the democracy that we brate ourselves about.
At that rate then, Professor, this is bound to continue then. It's actually not about to get any better, and these statistics could get worse and worse.
They could, but I'm pretty certain that with the ingenuity that the discoveries of this world have, and note that this company in particular grew during democracy. So it should be a barometer of white privilege. It should be a barometer of wealth and what comes with it. And hopefully they and their other arm, the medical aid scheme, which also put up its rates by over 40% in the last year or so, take note of this and will make policy recommendations to relevant bodies in society, like the Medical Association, like the Psychological Society of South Africa and others, so that we can create a pathing where nobody feels left out and nobody has to take drastic action to end their lives in order to save something for the future through getting an insurance policy.
So does that mean we're bound to see a lot more, shall we say, growth in psychological help and people going to see psychologists then as well? Has that continued to happen, and is that bound to happen even further from here?
Well, look, we have seen an exacerbation of anxiety, all sorts of stress, all sorts of depression expressing themselves, particularly during the COVID pandemic, which we've come out of in the last 2 years, and nothing has changed in that regard. In fact, it's gotten worse because those services have become almost outrageously priced because the numbers of persons available to perform these at a highly professional level are very few. The state does not employ many of these persons, and the state should. Our schooling system doesn't have them, except in little enclaves like the private school environment, for instance, or in private healthcare. Outside of that, the majority of us are prey to a worsening situation. This is a crisis that needs to be recognized and dealt with, because if it's happening to those at the top, imagine what is happening with those at the bottom of the heap.
Professor Saths Cooper, thank you so much for joining us this evening. A very dire situation indeed, and one that we hope can certainly be addressed very quickly as well. Psychological Society of South Africa and Pan-African Psychology Union, Professor Saths Cooper, joining us there this evening.